Hello and welcome to Queer Abbey, the weekly chat show that is performed, recorded, and produced by this cunty fucking bitch right here. Welcome to the 42nd episode? Yeah. First and foremost, let's get into this look right here. We're giving shiny. We're giving eyes. Mauve lips, blush. Pretty heavy blush. All right, so get into that. It is 5:47 in the morning, and I haven't slept. So if you thought that I've been unhinged in the last couple of weeks, just get ready for this nonsense. I have had a lot of salad this evening too, so I'm just have that sort of salad mindset going on. With that out of the way, I've had a pretty fun yet eventful week that I would love to recount for you a little bit before we get into some advice and later a stunning musical spotlight. So my sister got married this week on this last Friday. My gorgeous sister, Taylor, she had a little destination wedding that took place in Lincoln City, and she was married to her sweetheart, Dan, and it was really cool to convene and see and meet a bunch of people that I had never met before. And yeah, it was also complicated because I don't have talk about it a lot on this podcast, but I don't have a ton of contact with some parts of my family. And so I did see some people I haven't seen in a while, and it was just interesting all around. But I don't really want to, that was not the overarching point of it. I was overwhelmed with excitement and just love for my sister because she just seemed so happy to be getting married to this person, Dan. And Dan's a sweetheart, and I've known him for quite a while now. And so it was just overall a really nice experience. And it was a beautiful wedding. It was at this brewery called Pelican Brewery. It's a hard word to say. And there was delicious beer, and I had ahi, like this crusted ahi. It was really good. I felt very fancy for 2 days, getting all celebratory for Taylor. So I got to see my brother and his family, which was really lovely. I have a couple a niece and a nephew, a couple of what to call them, nephew nieces, a couple of those, and so it was lovely to see those little kiddos. And that was really, really great. The other awesome thing about this last week is that I had the performance in front of the school that I was really, really nervous about. I mean, I pretty much spent the entire week racking my nerves about both of those things happening. And the performance went so well. So, yay. I'm happy to say, I think I talked about it in the last couple weeks a little bit, but it's was this looping thing. Our group was called Monochrome Birthday Party. We all wore monochrome colors. I wore solid red and looked really cute. And then I had 3 team members. Brisa, who was solid pink. Pippa wore solid black. And then Alina wore solid yellow. We were like Power Rangers or something. And so we recorded little samples of our voices on the computer, in front of the audience. We all had our little setup. And so they all sang a C and in tune so that we could form harmonics and chords that were all in the same key. So it was kind of like tuning an instrument. I played a C on my little phone piano, and then they all sang it into the computer. And then I did a percussive sound, kss, kss, kss. And then we took those sounds and we looped 8 bars. I started with the percussion, and then we added this harmony, which we had sort of planned out. and it was actually Happy Birthday. And so the audience, we didn't tell them that, but then you discover once Pippa came in with the melody singing Happy Birthday. And I was actually kind of like orating a little bit over this to sort of guide the performance along, being like, oh, so you might know this song, and just being kind of silly and cute. And it just went way better than I would have ever expected. You know, I was so scared of completely fumbling or embarrassing myself, or just, I don't know, just in general feeling like I wasn't going to do a good job and having to live with that. But instead, I had a positive experience because I practiced and put the work in and imagined myself having a positive experience. And then it came true because I prepared myself to have a positive experience, you know? Yeah. I'm proud of my team members too for working together with me to like make all of that shit happen. So those were two really eventful things that happened for me. Yeah. I want to mostly focus on positive things, but I just remembered something else that's annoying. So in order to go to this wedding that was in Lincoln City, which is a few hours away from where I am, I had to rent a vehicle. And I did this months in advance because I am not somebody that A, spends that much money, B, travels ever, C, has a car. You know, like there was a lot of things that I was like, okay, because Taylor is also like, she's a Capricorn. She's always has it together. My sister is stunning like that. She like has a plan. She's a woman with some action. So she had her wedding plans together. She knew like the date and time and the location like pretty early on. And so I arranged a hotel room and a rental car like 3 months ago or something. Okay. So we get to the day before the wedding where I have the performance. Actually, it's the same day. And then after that, I ride the bus home, I pack up my stuff, and then I go to the rental vehicle. I ride the bus for like an hour to go to the airport where the rental service is that's like linked up with Expedia. And tell me why. I went up to the counter and I'm waiting there like thinking like, okay, I'm being real fierce, just like waiting to do my little errand, pick up my rental car. And I was so excited because like I haven't had a car for a while. So it was really the prospect of having a car to drive around was really fierce. Okay. So I get up, I give her my debit card and my ID and she goes, okay, credit card. And I'm like, oh, sorry, it's going to be debit. And she goes, I need a credit card. And I was like, oh, well, I'm sorry, I don't have a credit card. And she goes, do you have a return flight? And I'm like, a return flight? Where? No, I'm renting a vehicle. I'm driving both ways. And she goes, no. So if you're an Oregon resident, you actually cannot use a debit card. You must use a credit card. So do you have a credit card that's in your name? And she asked me like again. I'm like, no, I don't have a credit card. And I started getting really like panicked and like I was just like trying to like keep myself calm. And I'm like, oh my God, be nice. Like, and this lady was not nice. I don't know what else to say. She was just like, did not care for me and was like, yeah, no, sorry, we're not going to rent this car to you because you don't have a credit card. And clearly this is like a policy or something that like I should have known about going in, but it was not abundantly clear when you rent a car on Expedia. It says like, I went back and looked and it says in fine print somewhere, like once you click on the terms and conditions that you need to bring a credit card in some states, and it like specifies that, but it turns out it's actually a huge fucking deal. So if you don't have a credit card, you will pay for a rental and then you'll go to pick it up thinking that you're just gonna go be like woo and like get in your rental car, and they're gonna be like, actually fuck you, bitch, and then you're not gonna have a rental car at all. So I cried a little bit and then I got myself together in the lobby of the fucking airport thrifty car rental place, which was really ghetto, and they were mean, and they're mean ghetto mean people that worked there. Just kidding. At thrifty car rental. Just that's so mean. Okay, No, it worked out because what I did is I called Enterprise, which is a third-party car rental service. And when my car got totaled last year, that's the reason I don't have a car now. Someone smashed into me, and then I had to get a car rental, and then I bought another car, and then that car broke down, so then I just have no car. But anyway, when somebody fucking hit me, and then I had to get a rental car for a while, it was fierce because they gave me kind of a nice one, and it was through Enterprise that my insurance did that, and they paid for it, obviously, which love that, right? And I got to keep it for like 2 weeks, which was it was fun. Anyway, Enterprise was like nice, and they like are cool, and it costs slightly more than doing it as like a bundle with a hotel room through Expedia, but you don't have to have a credit card to do it through a third party one. It's just the airport apparently that like it's some federal policy or law or something, and they hate me, and so they were like, ugh. So I had to call and cry on the phone and do more crying to Expedia, and then ask to be like talk to a manager like a Karen in order to get my $150 back for the rental car for 2 days. That was a lot, mama. Anyway. Sorry for that long expository rambling session. I am deliriously tired and a little, if you know what I mean. But thank you for tuning in anyway. I appreciate it. I really look pretty. I mean, I spent a long time doing my fucking makeup instead of doing this, but that's okay. I mean, I don't know why I'm being so hard on myself. It's literally just like for me, but one thing that occurred to me is that, you know, unless society crumbles and I lose access to the things that are on Spotify and YouTube or whatever, this is like basically a journal for me. This would be really cool to look back on when I'm 87 years old and I'm gonna die and I'm like, oh yes, I once had collagen in my skin. Yes. Oh, it used to snap back when you pinched it. It made me tear up. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful to think about. Oh, I had one more thing that I wanted to talk about before I move on to the advice segment, I believe. Yeah, that's right. Nails. Look at them. They're press-ons. But honestly, I feel like I did a pretty good job of making them look good. What I did is because press-ons usually are like pretty long. They just kind of by default like come in like longer like almond shapes. It's like the default one. But I loved this color, and so I ordered these ones from that place, that online retailer that sucks. And I filed them down. If you don't know already, you can take press-on nails, and then as long as you prepare your nail beds really well, you take alcohol and you dehydrate and remove all the oil from, it's just like painting a wall, right? Like you clean the surface really well, and you're going to, dehydrate, remove oil, clean, even like just washing your hands first and then doing the alcohol, right? So you've got a clean surface, and then you're going to scuff. You're going to create some sort of texture and abrasion on the surface of your nail beds and scuff it with a nail file. And that's going to create a really lovely base that can grip onto that smooth nail texture. You can even take something and score or scuff the back of the nail. It's actually a really good idea to do that. And so that both of those things have grooves to like hold glue and adhere to each other. So then you obviously have these little fake nails, so you're going to take them, and they're just regular shapes, and make sure you carefully pick the sizes that go on your fingers. My middle finger one, sorry for flipping you off, my middle finger one popped off, so I had to actually take a thumb one and like file the sides down to make it smaller to replace it, because I didn't have another correct sized one. Anyway, you got to be careful about that, because if you pick huge nails for your fingers, it'll make your hands look bigger, and that's just kind of silly, unless that's what you want, But So then you glue them on. You get your nail glue, which is basically super glue. We love nail glue. It's holding the world together, to be honest. Okay, so you paint it on the back of the nail, and then you paint your fingernail that's been prepared. You sort of cover it with a thin layer of that glue. It doesn't need to be like globulous, nasty, lugubrious glue everywhere. Just like a little coating of it, like you were painting it. And then you're going to take the nail and press it real good. First, you start by lining up the cuticle, right? That, obviously, you know what a cuticle is. So you line that part up and you get it really flush with that. That's the most important part for the appearance of the nail. And you fucking that bitch on there. And then you press the sides in really good. And you kind of give it that convex shape or whatever, I don't know, the curvature of your nail, and you really press it in there. And I like to take like one of those little wooden dowel things that they give you and like really like press it in. Yeah, cool. And then you take your file and you shape it really good, because they usually come in a pretty funky like squarish or almondish shape. And so I filed these ones down short as fuck so I can play the piano, but I had them actually longer for the wedding. I just filed them down today. So, yeah, anyway, press-on nails can be kind of fierce. I just don't like how thin they are, but honestly, filing them down really short is kind of a perfect medium for me, because I just need to like provide some protection from the like me gnawing on my fingers. I'm a psychopath and I cannot stop picking and like biting my fingernails. It's so hard. But when my nails look pretty and I put like a press on or have an acrylic on or something, it's like, it's not that the temptation isn't there. I do find myself like wanting to like pick at the skin around my nails, but it's not like overwhelming, because there's like a smoothness and like a completeness to the texture of my fingernails, and it looks nice as well. So there's just all of these stimuli that like keep me from like doing that. Hard to describe. I really struggle with it, to be honest. It's a tough thing for me. Okay, now that I've rambled in a delirious fashion for 17 minutes, let's move on to the advice segment, because clearly everybody needs advice from me. Welcome back to the 42nd episode of Queer Abbey. Now it is time to dispense some especially questionable advice, to be honest. I didn't even like fully clean my apartment. Look, there's like shit on the table back there. Well, don't look, actually. I don't know why I said that. There's a reason I put it on that portrait mode and kind of blur the background. It's because it's dirty back there. The first prompt this evening says, Queer Abbey, what change has improved your sex life? Well, dear caller, to that I would say, trying to consume less porn. That is so ironic, considering the fact that I have been in porn and that I shamelessly consume it sometimes. Like, I really don't think there's anything wrong with it, but people are so mindlessly addicted to their phones and to staring at screens, and it has absolutely seeped into our sex lives, and it causes like erectile dysfunction in men. I mean, I think every woman has pretty much encountered this, where men are nervous or unstimulated, or they have to like choke the chicken like super hard with their hand, or they absolutely can't finish. And I feel like it's just kind of gotten worse and worse, because when I first became sexually active, a couple 100 years ago, it was not so bad, I feel like. I don't know. Maybe it's because I was like an underage twink sleeping with a bunch of like old men that didn't care about me and were like excited to be with some sort of pedophilic sexual exchange that I was just sort of blithely unaware of at the time. But who knows? Sorry, that was a little bit much, wasn't it? Oh, well, it stays in. So, yeah, I would say that not consuming porn can have a really positive effect on your ability to connect with the sexual stimuli in your body. God, I hope that my fucking, like, Taylor, sorry if you're watching this. Love you so much. But yeah, it's easy to become desensitized, I guess. And so I'm not a perfect person, obviously, but like I do try to, I don't know, I love to jerk off and I love to be sexually active, but it's good to be moderate about everything in life, right? Having just a little bit of asceticism about that and like allowing yourself some space to like let your sensations like reset and everything can be really good. However, I'm not saying that sex is bad in any way or has a negative like score or effect on your body or anything. That is certainly not the case. What is the case though is that people become overwhelmed with information and with imagery and a lot of different things, and nobody is immune to it. I mean, I think we're all sort of a little bit guilty of like consuming too much blankety blank blank, all sorts of different media, but porn is one of them for sure. So that's my main one. Another tidbit, I would say that starting on estrogen, interestingly, has affected my libido, which is, sorry, this is, I'm getting really personal. I have like no filter right now, so sorry. But I am like a grandma now. Estrogen has sort of like removed a lot of the like really like intense, like angry and sexual sort of desires that I have had in the past in my life, which has been interesting to experience over time. That sort of waning, like, it's not, I'm not like not interested in sex or anything, but it's just like, when I think about it and compare it, I'm like not like interested in like, oh, I want to go jerk off like all the time. You know what I mean? Maybe it has to do with getting older too. It could just be coincidental with the fact that I'm like, my prefrontal cortex is like getting there. It's almost done cooking. But yeah. So maybe if you are an assigned male at birth person, maybe you should be a trans like me, and then take estrogen, and you'll have a lovely sex life, because it'll be non-existent. You'll just be playing Assassin's Creed and looking up the history of the Tudor family and like trying to crochet and eating a lot. Doing things like that, and doing like this gorgeous makeup at 3 a.m. Really, one more round of applause for this makeup look. Like, fuck, bitch. At first I just did like a white glitter on my eyelids, and then I decided to put like this yellowy green and kind of like tapped it on, and I just really like how all those colors are working. Yeah. Next question. So the next caller inquired, Queer Abbey, apartment must-haves, ? So me and my boyfriend are planning on moving in a few months to an apartment together, and we are curating a list of what we should buy in advance to be prepared. Cleaning supplies, utensils, etc. What are some things that you forgot when you moved into a new apartment? Well, that felt like an accusation. Like, excuse me, I didn't forget anything. No. What did I forget when I moved into a new apartment, into this place? Well, I'll tell you one thing. I fucking forgot how expensive trash cans are. Yeah. Trash cans are like $100 if you want a metal one that's nice. And if you just want a shitty, like, kitchen-sized plastic trash can, it still costs like $30 or $40, which is so weird to me. And I just don't understand why they cost so much. And I think that we need to riot against big trash can, because I just can't fucking be paying $30 for a tub that I put my garbage in. Anyway, that, I didn't know that I was going to need to budget for a fucking trash can. Maybe even a compost little thing to keep on your corner, depending on how, eco-friendly you really, care about being. I would really encourage you to compost and do stuff like that if you felt like it. Curtains, curtain rods and curtains. And I would say all of the just basic things that create the structure of the house that you want inside this lovely apartment. Like, is there all of the fixtures that need to be there? Do you need to have lamps? Do you need to get desks? I would go before you start putting anything in there and make a plan about what you need to like live and be happy. And obviously, the other part of this is that you can't be prepared for everything and like know exactly what you're going to need in every situation and purchase it in the whatever time frame before you move in a couple months. And I think it's good of you that you are thinking about what you're going to need and having some foresight. And I can tell that, yeah, you're probably a woman because you're wise. You're like thinking several months in the future. So I'm like, yeah, not a man. But yeah, I think you'll be okay. And I don't think that you need to worry about having everything pinned down because you have to know where you're going in order to know where to place your feet for the next step ahead, So meter your expectations a little bit. Maybe once you get the space and once you're like, you know what you're going to need and what it looks like and how much space you have to store stuff, that's when you can really lock down and like, this is what we need. Like you might not even need like a couch depending on the size of your space. Like, right, I live in this tiny little studio and I just have like a bed over there, and yeah, so you'll figure out what you need and it might change and fluctuate if you move to a different apartment. So yeah, just be excited for what the future holds, baby. I think that's so exciting. Piper, no, we can't move into a new apartment, Piper. You know that. We don't do that where we just buy everything that we think that we need before we go to a new apartment, Piper. We don't do that. Sometimes when I do certain voices, it makes me tear up a little bit. Did you see that? My God. They're holy tears. They're sanctified. I was channeling the Holy Spirit. Well, that about covers all that. I hope that my answers were so helpful to you, Miss Apartment Goer and person who was hoping to improve their sex life. I'm going to circle back for a second to the person that wanted to improve their sex life. You could also try getting a huge dildo and putting it up your ass. I think that's also a great way to approach improving your sex life. All right, moving on to the musical spotlight. Whoopsh. All right, welcome back to the final segment of Queer Abbey, where we share lovely music from local artists. This week, we have a collaboration between Jesse. There's an accent on the last E, so I think it might actually be like Jesse. But Jesse and Listeninglistener, who is somebody who we featured previously, their single Gravitas, and I think that's also the name of the album, just a few weeks ago, not too long ago. Mikey is a really talented producer and creative guy that has put out quite a lot of music and recently released this single just a few months ago, back in 2024, with Jesse. I'm so insecure that I'm saying that wrong, so sorry if I'm saying both things that I think could be right. So anyway, really interesting single. Listener always creates these really like cerebral kind of spoken word mixed hip hop beats. They're very like urban and kind of like crispy and have these like recordy sounds and like I said, like interesting like oration woven into them. It's very dreamy, very like kind of ambient. You'll see exactly what I mean, because this is another one of those awesome sort of ballpark songs for Mikey. This song is called Weird Dreams, and it has a lot of really sweet little messages in it and little moments. I think the lyricism in it is really like sort of romantic and playful, and I really enjoyed that mixed with Mikey's sort of dreamy, really ambient world that he creates with his production. So let's get right into Weird Dreams by Jesse and Listening Listener.
There's too many records for them to be original. You know, you have to be very selfish to be original. You can't listen to everybody's record.
Lord, take me straight to my bag, like where I should go. Penthouse view, like where the hood go. I got a better, not a good flow. Greatest that you know in real time. In the flesh, check out my fresh, I can style you in a sec. Best writer where I'm from. Some see me out and about. Greet me by artists, but in French. To be globally renowned, the next test. All from what I type with my thumb on the text. When I tell my testimony, say it with my chest. Just a guest on the beat. So I'm doing more and nothing less. If less is really more, then I know we really blessed. Money on my mind while I'm a mess. A hot one though, takes one to spot one though. I laugh at my past like I just got the joke. Cause when lovers chop it up, the conversation never ends. When lovers chop it up, it's like speaking to your best friend. When lovers chop it up, both sides praise, it never rests. When lovers chop it up, beautiful thoughts without a stress. When lovers chop it up, their hearts always race ahead. When I hear your beautiful voice, my heart holds its breath. I off beats even when I'm I off beats even when I'm off beat. I off beats even when I'm off beat. Power hour turns to sour hour, still it's so sweet.
All right, y'all. I hope that you enjoyed that lovely song as much as I did. As always, you can go check out the music of both Jesse and Mikey, or Listening Listener, by clicking on the link that is going to be provided in the description of this episode. Please do that and check out the rest of the music that both of these folks have made, because they're very talented. And I hope that you have weird dreams tonight. I like the series of lyrics about cutting up between lovers. I think that part's so cute. Anyway. We are rounding out to a close for this episode of Queer Abbey. So I just wanted to remind you that if you were interested in being featured on one of our episodes on the musical spotlight, or for receiving some advice, you can always reach out to us using the anonymous submission link that's in the description. You can just click on it and fill it out if you really felt like it. You can send us an email. That's at queerabbey@gmail.com. That's QUEERABBEY@gmail.com. Or you can send a text or a voicemail or something like that to our phone number, which is 503-567-2053, Piper. So go ahead and send a text if you really felt like it, Piper. And I hope you have a good rest of your week, all right? Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it.